Hi, and welcome to Nico Connection. I'm your host, Kevin Deneliak, here with Sherna Henderson, who is an airline agent. Hi, Sherna, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
So what exactly does an airline agent do?
Well, my job description, I'm a lead customer service rep. So basically what I do is I manage a couple gates a day, and I make sure that the flights go out on time. I make sure that the passengers board in an adequate amount of time. I make sure bags are tagged. I make sure that if people don't have, their reservations in order, I correct them, I change them. So I do a number of things.
Walk us through like a day in the life of an average airline agent, like getting up to get going home.
Well, basically what I do is that when I get to work, I log into a system to see how many flights I have in my area, what time they come in, what time they're supposed to depart. I make sure that they're not oversold, or the agents that are working with them, the flights, they have the adequate amount of information that they need to get the flight out on time, and things of that nature. So basically I just make sure that it's boarded up. I meet aircrafts every now and then. I make sure that they depart on time, stuff like that.
So what airports have you worked at in your career?
Basically, I started out in Chicago Res as a reservation agent, which is a person who builds reservations. So if you were to call in and you want to fly somewhere, I was the one that made those flight arrangements for you. Then after that, I transferred to San Francisco Airport, and I worked there for a little over a year. And then I transferred here to Chicago.
What airline do you work for? Exactly?
I work for United Airlines.
United Airlines. Do you work closely with coworkers or mostly on your own?
I work very closely with my coworkers. I'm basically the go-to person when they need help or when they have questions that need to be answered. I help them with system errors and things of that nature.
So a lot of your job is working with people, and you have to be good with people, right?
Absolutely. You have to be very, very, very gracious to work for an airline, because sometimes everything doesn't go as planned and customers are very upset. So you have to make sure that you're able to assist them and make sure that you do it to where it is that you show compassion. And also have coworkers that I work very closely with as well, who sometimes become frustrated because the airline business is not just, it doesn't go as planned all the time. So absolutely.
So besides social skills, what other skills does it take to be an airline agent?
I think besides social skills, I think you would need to be very, a patient person, self-motivated. A lot of it is goal-oriented, that you have to do it on your own. You don't have people standing over you to make sure that the job is done. So it's something that you'll have to do on your own. You have to be very, 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 what's the word I want to use? You have to be very, you have to have the knowledge of the airline business to, because sometimes we don't always have flights for passengers to rebook them on if they miss. So you have to be very knowledgeable to other airlines, because we work hand in hand with them as well.
Okay. You said you have to have that knowledge of the airline business. What kind of training goes into becoming an airline agent?
We work with a very unique system. So that's a system that you would have to learn and master. And that's basically it, and have very good customer service skills. So yeah.
Have you ever got into travel anywhere for your work besides San Francisco? I know you said.
For my pleasure, yes, I have. I've done a couple training classes in Denver and Los Angeles, but basically I use my benefits on my job to travel all around the world. Just a couple months ago, I went to London, and I was able to visit Brussels before the incident happened there. So it was very touching to know that I was there just 3 weeks before that happened. So yeah.
So what kind of stuff drove you to become an airline agent? What gave you the idea?
Well, actually, as a small child, my mom took me on a lot of different trips. We had typical family vacations a couple times a year. So I was always, prone to traveling and things of that nature. But this job kind of just landed in my lap. I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I wanted to work for the airline. I basically started out minimum wage call center job, and I kind of worked my way up the ladder. And the more I did it, the more I enjoyed doing it. And it's something that I would do for free. So I know that this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. So that's where you want to be for the rest of your life?
Well, I've been there for 11 years, so I would pretty much say that that's basically where I want to end my career.
That's
Absolutely.
Good. Has anything like unusual or crazy ever happened to you during work, or like just crazy stories?
Absolutely. I have a lot of crazy stories. I mean, we could be here all day to talk about them, but like I said, working for the airline industry, nothing is normal. We always have irregular operations. We have good times, we have bad times, we have passengers that are not always friendly. And so we also get a chance to meet a lot of celebrities. They come in and out of the airport. And so, I've met a lot of great people, such as Kevin Hart. Kanye West has flew there. We had a lot of different actors, Samuel L. Jackson. So, you get a chance to meet a lot of great people.
That's cool. So you said like illegal operations sometimes you come across. What's like the most dangerous situation you've ever been in?
We've had issues where aircrafts moved or whatever. We've had, accidents where ramp agents, they might have hit the aircraft or something like that. So, with everything, you have mistakes that may happen.
In case of an emergency at an airport, like, as an airline agent, would your job be like help evacuate people, or like what would you guys as like airline agents do in that case?
Well, just a typical airline agent, no, their job would not be able be to evacuate, but because I am a member of the safety team at the airport, so I hold a lot of different roles there. So, like I said, the emergency part is definitely something that I do. What my knowledge is to know the points to where passengers and my coworkers need to go in case of an emergency. So, yes.
All right. Have you ever had to work like an overnight shift at an airport?
No, I've never worked an overnight shift. The latest that I've probably worked maybe is like 3 a.m. So if that's considered overnight, yes. But
what was that like? Was it a lot less crowded, or like?
No, because it probably was one of those typical days where we had weather and a lot of flights got canceled. So it was more sad than anything because a lot of people were stranded and they didn't have places to go. Hotels were full and things of that nature. So.
So like, what are some of the positives and like benefits of being an airline agent?
The benefit of being an airline agent is that you're able to travel and see the world. Very low, no cost maybe. And also you're able to help people. That's a passion of mine. I like to help and assist. So, and then you get a chance, like I said, to meet a lot of great people, coworkers, passengers. You get a chance to share stories and things of that nature. So it's really a great job to have.
Just lots of experience around the world and stuff.
It is, and getting to know a lot of different cultures and knowing how they do things. You're able to go visit, so a little bit more frequently than other people. So, yeah.
And what are some of like the not so good things about being an airline agent?
The not so good things is that things change every day with the airline business. You have to learn different things. You have to keep, up to date with a lot of different requirements and codes and procedures and things of that nature. You also have to, you kind of have to change it up a little bit. It's just not the same. So if you're a person that you don't like change, it may not be a great position for you to have. For me, I think that the greatest part is that I'm able to travel the world, see a lot of the world, and my family as well. So it's great.
Would you suggest becoming an airline agent to anybody out there looking for a job?
Absolutely, it's a great job to have. Absolutely, yes.
All right, that's all the time we have today for Nico Connection. I'm your host, Kevin Deneliak, with Sherna Henderson. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have a good night.